The RK61. It's probably one of the first keyboards most people look into when they dive into the mechanical keyboard space. What's up guys, it's Nick. I've always wondered what's so special about this keyboard. Paired with the GK61 and all the other cheaper or more expensive variants, it's probably one of the first things you think about when speaking about entry-level or budget mechanical keyboards. Personally, I was thinking about buying this before I settled for a TKL layout. Well, curiosity got the best of me, so today we'll be unboxing and reviewing the RK61 by Royal Clutch, going through its features and my own thoughts about the keyboard. This is the newer version of this keyboard, and to be completely honest, it just looks better in white like most peripherals, but maybe I'm just biased. Out of the box, you can tell it's pretty light, feels like plastic, and it's just your run-of-the-mill 60% RGB keyboard. I do really like how it looks, and the RGB shine is pretty decent. It's compact, it's neat, and it looks great. Other than the user manual, there are a few other things included in the box. A keycap remover tool, but wait, pause. Always use this type of keycap remover tool. Never use one of these. It will scratch and ruin your keycap. Don't make the same mistakes that I did. Back to the unboxing. A white USB-C power cable, which sadly is quite short, and surprisingly, a switch puller and extra switches. This is something we'll get into in a bit since I think it's quite interesting. I decided to go with reds since I prefer a more linear feel. These in specific seem to be kill switches. Sadly, the keycaps are ABS plastic, which means over time they will get that grease glow. They are cherry styled stems, so you can replace them if you so desire. I'm partial to pudding keycaps, honestly they just look amazing. The legends are double shot ejected, so they will not fade. The switch feels fine as reds are pretty simple, and to my surprise the stabilizers are actually pretty decent. I don't plan on modding this yet, but let me know in the comments if I should lube and film the keyboard. Now, I was always under the impression that the RK61 was not hot swap, but recently they've added that to the newer models, making this one of the most budget-friendly hot swappable keyboards on the market. I'd like to say that's amazing, but it's 2021, and at this point, it's just expected. Let's focus a bit more on the overall keyboard. I do like the whole aesthetic. Not only is the white enticing and clean, the compact form factor, as well as the medium profile, makes this a pretty good looking keyboard, even though it's mass produced. It is plastic, so it's not that hefty, and it will give off that unique plastic sound and feel. The USB input is on the left side, which I'm not really a fan of since the cable is quite short. Looking at the back, even though it does have rubberized feet, it does not have the pegs to raise and adjust the keyboard's height. We also find the Bluetooth on-off button at the back since this is a wireless wired keyboard. You can pair this with up to 3 devices, and you can switch between them by pressing the function Q, W, or E keys, giving a faint brown glow. While using Bluetooth mode, you'll get up to 8 hours of continuous use while having RGB enabled. While having RGB turned off, it will probably last you weeks at a time. The font on the keycaps does seem standard enough, and since this is a 60% layout, you'll find the difference between an 80% or TKL and a 60% very noted. You do lose those extra function keys as well as the standard place arrow keys. And if you were curious, this is the difference in size between both a TKL and a 60%. I do prefer TKL, so it does get some getting used to while switching layouts. Now, the pretty lights. I do think that paired with the white, this keyboard has one of the best RGB aesthetics there is. It's not super imposing or dull, it's just a very pleasing shine to look at. Not only that, but there are many different options to go through. After a minute of idle, the keyboard's backlight will turn off, but by just tapping any key, it'll go back to normal. Anything you can probably think of or want is probably already added to the onboard profile. By pressing both the function and the backslash key, you can cycle through the different onboard profiles. But here's the kicker, it does have software. meaning that you can push its limits even further. I found that going on the website and downloading the software did not work for me. So I went to YouTube and managed to find another download link that should work just fine. I recommend you try it with the website software first, and if all fails, use the alternative link that is in the description down below. With the app, not only can you change the keyboard layout, but you can also control the lighting more specifically and address each thing individually, as well as adding and managing macros. So now that we've gone through the keyboard, what are my thoughts? Well, in terms of aesthetics, I think I prefer the RK61 over my HyperX Alloy Origins core. Again, I'm pretty biased towards white setups. I think that how it looks and how it feels on my desk, it just merges completely with my white setup overall. Paired with the RGB, you have a small, very visually stunning keyboard. That being said, the feel is still plastic, and it doesn't quite live up to the aircraft grade aluminum quality that I'm used to. But I am comparing two mass-produced keyboards at different price points, and that isn't really fair. What most people fail to remember is that this is an entry-level keyboard. Oscillating between $50 and $65, you can tell why this is so high reviewed on Amazon and why so many people recommend it and speak of it. Sure, you can find other keyboards around the same price like the GK61, the MC60, the SK61, and many others. And they all come with different features that makes them stand out between them. But now that this has 2-pin hot swap, how it looks, and being both wired and wireless, it makes it a pretty enticing option. I won't particularly say that this is the best 60% or budget keyboard since it does have its faults, but for its price and the quality, I think it's really good. While I was gaming with it, I do have to say that getting used to the layout will take some time. Even though you don't use many keys while playing FPS games like Valorant, you still need to figure out the dimensions and the functions. I was quite disappointed with the Bluetooth mode while gaming. There does seem to be a bit of latency, so for those competitive games online, I would just stick to wired. Another thing to think about, since it's such a small layout and you do lose those function keys, this keyboard really isn't meant for editors or any type of productivity work. Just gaming or typing in general does make it a better feeling option. I do enjoy the hollow sound as well as how the switches feel. Speaking of switches, you can also choose to get this keyboard with blues if you like clicky, or browns if you like to watch the world burn, or you like tactiles, something like that. But anything is better than membrane. So if you're looking into a mechanical keyboard and you're not quite fussed about a particular switch or a particular build, I would highly suggest you get this one. The RK61 is really a great keyboard. The price is right, the feel is right, the features are good. The keycaps are average, but you can change those. I don't quite get the hate that this keyboard receives from the keyboard community in general. To me, it's a fine piece of hardware. But as always, it comes down to personal preference. Do note, if you're thinking about buying this one, I've linked down below the newer version of the RK61. This is the one I reviewed, and personally, it's the one that I would recommend. But that being said, what are your thoughts on the budget king of keyboards? Would you get this in black or in white? Let me know in the comments down below. If you have any other questions related to tech, my Discord server is linked down below, as well as all my other forms of social media. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember that a like and a sub go a long way. I'm gonna go be productive. Bye!